Once upon a time, in the great Arkansas Kingdom, the world lived in peace and coexistence.
Pumpkin Jack is a 3D platformer action-adventure with a delightfully spooky Halloween theme. It takes inspiration from games like Medieval and Jak and Daxter, two games which I've totally played. In it, you take control of the titular Jack, a human spirit who has been given a new body in the form of a pumpkin. The game was developed by Nicolas Meissonier, sorry if I completely butchered that by the way, and is currently available on PC, Nintendo Switch, and Xbox One, with the PS4 version coming soon at the time of writing.
It was an age of prosperity, without anything to fear of war, famine, catastrophe. It was so very boring.
The story begins when Jack is summoned by the devil to serve as his champion in defeating a wizard and dooming the world. After receiving a new stitched-together body with a pumpkin for a head, Jack sets off on his journey. However, he isn't alone. After starting his adventure, he quickly gains companions, including an owl sent by the devil to watch over him, a cowardly crow who is absolutely hilarious, and my favorite character, and a sword that somehow both insults and compliments him at the same time. The game is fantastically well written, with each character having their own distinct personality. Almost every joke lands, and there were several times where I burst out laughing and had to put down my controller. In fact, the writing was so good that I gave voices to each character and acted out all of the dialogue to myself. Woo, just remember who gave you that fancy new body. I am Jack, the greatest rogue to ever live. Kaka! Huzzah! Let's never speak of that again. I also love how the game pokes fun at itself and its design. Pumpkin Jack doesn't hide its tropes, it embraces them, like when Jack questions out loud why he's suddenly the entire world's errand boy. The story is also told in wonderfully animated and narrated cutscenes at the beginning and end of every level. These do a great job at explaining what's happened so far while also letting you know what your current objective is. Pumpkin Jack is a visual treat. It has a gorgeous cartoon art style, and every level has a unique theme and color palette, leading to some great visual variety. The game has wonderful lighting effects, and this combined with the vibrant colors caused me to stop and take screenshots several times. Every character, movement, attack, and even small details like the spread of fire are wonderfully animated. And painful. It's also worth noting that the game supports ray tracing on PC, though I was unable to test this myself as my GPU doesn't support it. There's lots of jumping in Pumpkin Jack. It is a platformer after all. Thankfully, the platforming is easy to pick up and control, even if it can feel a bit floaty at times. The combat feels great. Jack can swing or shoot his weapons at enemies, perform multi-strike combos, and even jump in the air for plunging AoE attacks. He also acquires a new weapon in nearly every level, and the weapon wheel makes it super easy to switch between them. The crow is also used in combat, making it possible to attack and stun enemies from a distance. While the combat isn't difficult overall, it's still important to dodge, as a group of enemies can deplete your health bar pretty quickly if you're not paying attention. Don't worry though, as long as you can get away and break some objects in the environment, you'll be fine. Speaking of enemies, there's some great variety here. You've got your flying enemies, stationary projectile shooters, annoying shielded lads, and your normal walk right up and hit you in the face skeletons. Also, watch out for the water. Seriously, it's the most deadly water I've ever seen. There's also a death counter that goes up and mocks you every time you perish, so do your best to avoid any embarrassing demises. The game has 6 levels, and almost all of them follow a fairly similar structure, while also having completely unique gameplay. There's lots of platforming and combat sections, and several levels also introduce their own unique platforming concepts and enemies, and these provide an awesome change of pace. Each level also has its own specific puzzle sections that use a unique mechanic or idea. These are great fun, and you can only solve them by using your head. Literally. There's also always an intense, gameplay-changing set piece that's used 1 to 3 times in its specific level. These are awesome high-action moments, even if they can be a bit frustrating once you fail them a few times. Every level concludes in a classic 3-phase boss fight, with a great variety of spooky foes to face off against. Each level also has plenty of collectibles to, well, collect. Most of them are crow skulls that you can either find around the level or earn after specific combat sections. These are used to unlock different skins, literally, for Jack to wear. They look great, and they're a nice way to change your appearance. Just be aware that if you want them all, you're gonna have to find every single skull in the game. There's also a gramophone in every level, and these are, well, interesting. Overall, the levels take about 45 minutes to an hour each depending on how thorough you are with exploring, leading to about a 6-hour experience. I'd be crazy not to mention the absolutely fantastic soundtrack composed by Yohan Jager. Every level, character, set piece, and boss fight has their own unique, lovingly Halloween-y track. These are seriously great. I mean, just listen to this. The first thing I did after beating the game was buy the soundtrack, and I think that says something. The score helps pull the entire experience together and elevate it to something more. In fact, my only gripe is that I wish there were more songs that played during normal combat. There's only one, but it's still an awesome beat. Pumpkin Jack is fantastic. It's a delightfully spooky time with great visuals, platforming, combat, set pieces, boss fights, collectibles to find, basically everything you'd want in a game like this. The brilliantly written story and characters on top of that is just icing on the cake. By the end of my playthrough, I didn't want to part with the friends I'd made, or the world they inhabited. I adored this game. Pumpkin Jack left me wanting more while still feeling satisfied, and I feel that's a sign of something special. So I implore you, if this is a game that you think you might enjoy, please, please, please give it a go. You won't regret it. Alright, thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know what you thought down in the comments below. I'll have more reviews coming soon, and until next time, like the crow says, Caw!